Well, welcome back to day 4 of this 10-day challenge. So, we'll start in a seated position. So, go ahead and come into a comfortable seat for your body. And then allow your eyes to close as you start to bring your attention inside your body. Checking in with how you feel this morning, any physical sensation, any thoughts, any emotions that might be present for you. Just check in. Remembering that this and any practice that you undergo or undertake can be made to suit you. So if there's something that we're doing that doesn't feel right in your body, either skip it or do something slightly similar. And feel free to leave a comment below the video, and I'll give you an alternative afterwards. All right. And so as you're checking in, we'll bring our palms together in front of the heart, taking a moment to draw the attention inwards. And then interlace your fingers, press your palms forward and up toward the ceiling. Start to reach up through one hand and up through the other side. Left and right, lengthening arms, legs, or arms and sides of the torso down to the low back. All right, and then release your hands down to the floor. And then walk your right hand out. Take your left hand to your left shoulder and start to rotate. Take a few circles in one direction. And a few circles the opposite way. All right, and sweep that left hand all the way up and over. Squeeze and release the fingers, as well as rotate through the wrist. A few times each way. All right, with your next inhale, lift up. And with your exhale, release your left hand down. And then we'll slide that hand out, leaning into it. Take the right hand to the right shoulder and start to circle. A few times in one direction. And a few times the opposite way. All right, then take the right hand all the way up and over. Squeeze and release the fingers, as well as rotate through the wrist. And then your next inhale lifts you up. And with your exhale, release your arm. All right, so we'll transition onto hands and knees. As always, when you come to hands and knees, hands are under shoulders, knees are underneath hips. And if you need more support underneath your knees, if your floor is really hard, you might put a blanket underneath your knees. All right, so as you inhale, let the belly drop. Lift your head and tail. As you exhale, tuck the tail, round the back, bring the chin toward the chest. Again, with your inhale, belly drops, head and tail lift. And exhale, tuck and round. All right, one more like that. Breathing in. And breathing out. All right, so as you bring your torso to neutral, now take your knees close together and then lift your left knee up and out to the side. Pause a moment, energize your left foot, and then start to rotate through your hip. So left knee is drawing a big circle in space. And then change directions. All right, and then from here, step that left foot forward to your left hand. And then as you lift your torso up, Organize your legs into a short lunge if they're not already there. So front knee is over the ankle and right hip is over the knee. And then we'll start by taking the hands behind the back, interlace the fingers, and then squeeze the shoulder blades together. And so as I've mentioned previously, you might find a better stretch across your chest by keeping your elbows bent. You may find it feels okay to straighten the arms, but just check in with how it feels either way. You don't necessarily have to straighten your arms if bent elbows feels better. All right, so from this position, turn your head side to side. All right, and then lift your chin up and drop it down. Again, lifting up and dropping down. Once more, lifting and dropping. All right, as you bring your head back up to center, release the hands, let them come to the floor, and then step your right foot forward so you come into your forward fold. Bend the knees a little bit here, let the weight of the head drop. Shake the head yes and no. All right, walk your hands gradually up the fronts of your legs, rising up to stand, and then shrug your shoulders up. Take them back and down. Again, shrugging up, back, and down. And then one more time, up, back, and down. All right, now take your feet about hip distance apart. And then begin to bend your knees just a little bit, but really push the hips back. So focus a little bit more on how much you're bending at your hips than how much you're bending at your knees. I'm going to take most of the weight back towards your heels. See if you can lift the ball of your left foot up. All right, if it's not possible to lift your toes of your left foot, step your left foot just a little bit further forward and lift the toes. And as you lift the toes here, really keep taking weight back towards the heel so you start to feel more weight in the back of your leg. So that's the feeling that you want to have with the knees slightly bent and the hips pushing back, all right? We'll do the other side. Lift the ball of the right foot. And again, if the feet under the knees, if you can't lift the ball of your right foot, step it forward a little bit first. Keep bending at your hips, little bend at the knees. All right. Now, with most of the weight going back into the heels, but let the balls of the feet touch the floor. Now, sweep your arms out to the sides and rotate your palms up and down. And let that rotation go all the way up your arms. Sense the gentle engagement of your belly. All right, now fold forward. Step your feet back into downward dog. All right, from here, knees come back together. Lift your right knee up and out to the side this time. Pause a moment to energize your right foot. All right, and then rotate through your hip. A couple of times in one direction. A couple times the opposite way. All right, now step that right foot forward to your right hand. Lifting your torso up, front knee over the ankle, left hip over the knee. Hands come behind the back. Interlace your fingers with your opposite thumb on top. So non-habitual crossing. Again, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Open up across the chest. Now what we'll do this time is scoot the knuckles over towards the left side of your waist. And then drop your head to the left as well. So you get a nice little stretch here on the right side of the neck down to the shoulder. And with the head dropping to the left, take it just a little bit forward and a little bit back. I'll get a little forward and back. All right, bring your head up to center. Scoot your knuckles over towards the right side of the waist. Drop your head to the right as well. And take the head slightly forward and slightly back. Again, forward and back. All right, head comes up to center. Hands come to rest on the floor. Again, step forward into your forward fold. Feet a little wider than the hips, knees a little bent. Release the weight of your head. All right, again, walk your hands up the fronts of your legs, rising up to stand. Now let your shrugs be backwards this time. So take your shoulders back and then up and forward. Again, back and up and forward. And then once more back, up and forward. All right. Feet about hip distance apart. Just as we did before, we're going to bend at the hips and at the knees, but probably more at the hips. Try to take most of the weight into your heels, a little bit of weight in the balls of the feet. But if you can't quite tell if the backs of your legs are engaged, they might not be. So you can experiment with lifting the ball of each foot one at a time to move more weight back towards the backs of the legs. All right, so this time we'll move our arms. So stay in this, not quite a squat, but in the direction of a squat, a version of chair pose. And then inhale, sweep your arms forward and up. Exhale, sweep your arms down and back, just as far back as they can go. Again, inhale forward and up. Exhale down and back. One more like that, breathing in and breathing out, reaching back. Now go ahead and fold forward and step back to downward dog. All right, this time as you release down to your knees. Again, knees come together. Reach your right leg back in space. Lift your leg up so it's about the same height as your torso. And as you're reaching back through that right foot, you're also pushing up with this right leg against an invisible surface. So you really want to feel the back of the leg engaged. All right, so reaching back with the right leg, left arm goes forward. Top of the head reaches forward. Let the back of your neck be nice and long. And then take this left hand out to the side. And then the left hand to low back. And back out to the side. And forward. And down to the floor. Now as you step your right foot to your right hand, we'll lengthen our lunge, so scoot your left knee back just a couple more inches. Shift your weight into your left hand, take your right hand to your right thigh. Begin to rotate towards your right leg. Now your choice if you want to keep it a little bit more mellow with the back knee down, or if you want to tuck your toes and lift your knee. Maybe reach your right hand up into the air. Whichever version you're in, take 3 breaths. And so after your third breath, release back to hands and knees. And then scoop both of your knees over to the right so they're off the mat. Left hip drops down to the center of the mat. Take your top knee back, your right knee. Take your hands as wide as the mat, and then start to turn your chest toward the top of the mat. So you're turning your chest away from your legs, and then turn your head gently over to the left. Sensing and feeling into this rotation of the whole torso. All right, one more breath. And then bring yourself back to hands and knees. This time it'll be your left leg going back in space. And you're reaching back through the ball of your left foot while at the same time pressing up against a surface that the back of your left leg is in contact with, an imaginary surface that you're pushing up against. All right, so as you feel the back of your left leg engaged, now also take your right arm forward. Top of the head reaching forward, long back of the neck. All right, right hand out to the side. Right hand to low back. And back out to the side. And forward. And now as your right hand comes to the floor, step your left foot forward to your left hand. Widen the lunge, scoot your right knee back a little bit. Right hand to the floor, left hand to left thigh. As you start to twist towards your left leg. Again, you might keep your back knee down, keep it a little bit more mellow. Or you might tuck your toes, lift your knee, and reach your left hand up into the air. Take 3 breaths. All right, after your third breath, come back to hands and knees. This time we'll scoop both knees over to the left so they're all the way off the mat. Right hip drops down basically to the center of the mat. Top knee goes back. That'll be your left knee. And then turn the torso. So you're twisting towards the top of your mat. Turning your chest away from your legs. Turn the head as well, slightly to the right. Sensing and feeling this rotation. All right, one more round of breath. And then come back to hands and knees. We'll do one more downward facing dog. So when you're ready, tuck your toes, lift your knees, send your hips up and back. All right, as you release down to your knees, come back into your seat. All right, as you come into your seat, once again, sit in a way that's comfortable for you. You might sit cross-legged or another way. Remembering too that when you sit with your hips a little higher than your knees, you usually have this greater sense of freedom in the torso to be upright. As I mentioned yesterday, sometimes when we sit right on the floor, the low back is just kind of pressing back in space in a way that doesn't feel like it's possible to sit up. So sit up on something, a cushion, a block, as you bring your torso into this upright position. All right, so we'll do a couple of breathing practices. We'll start with Kapalabhati, skull shining breath, blowing out the nose like you were blowing your nose. So just a quick blow out the nose, and you notice that your abdominals contract when you do that. So that's the exhale part of the breath. Just quickly blowing out the nose. And then as you relax the abdominals, your breath comes back in, almost without even thinking about it. All right, and so we'll go at just about a moderate pace for a little over a minute. And we'll probably do 2 rounds. So as you sit up nice and tall, bring your attention to your belly, and let's begin. All right, release control of the breath. And feel the body breathe in and out at its own speed. That's unregulated, uncontrolled. So we'll do one more round in this way. If you are sitting cross-legged, you might choose to switch the cross of the leg so that your opposite leg is in front. Again, as you sit up nice and tall, take your attention to your belly, and let's begin. Again, release control of the breath. Feeling the body come back into its natural and easy pace and rhythm of breathing. All right, so we'll practice breath retention with the throat lock or Jalandhara Bandha. So the way this works is you'll take a deep breath in and then drop your chin toward your chest, holding the breath in the container of your torso. We'll pause there for probably about 10 seconds or so. If you feel like staying longer, that's fine. If you need to come out of it sooner, also fine. And then I'll say to lift your chin and exhale through your mouth. So it'll look like this. All right, but the retention will be around 10 seconds, maybe slightly longer, slightly shorter, depending on your needs. All right. So take a deep breath in and bring your chin toward your chest. All right, lift and release. Again, inhale and then drop your chin. And lift and release. All right, one more time. Inhale, drop the chin. All right, lift and release. Take a few natural, easy breaths, unrestricted, uncontrolled. And just sense the energy that you're made of. All right, bring your palms together in front of your heart. As we bow to the light within ourselves, we also bow to the light within each other. Namaste. Thanks again for practicing with me on day 4. 6 more days to go. Feel free to join me at 7 a.m. Central Time or whatever time suits your schedule. See you again next time. Bye-bye.